welcome to another edition of You and Your Uke. Yes, this is for those of you who have just begun to play uke and you've done maybe that particular song. It doesn't matter who you've learned from. One of the main key points to start with learning ukulele is those 4 chords: C, A minor, F, G or G7 and the island strum. So you've mastered that. Where do you go from there? Well, of course, you could learn thousands of chords, you could learn thousands of strumming patterns, but I want you to think about one thing particularly today, and that's this. When we're accompanying songs, we are making music. Music is not just about setting in a rhythm and letting it go like a clockwork machine. Music is about expression. Music is about conveying emotion, and so you might want to be thinking a little bit more about what you're playing rather than just going, okay, here's my strumming pattern, I'm going to start that up like a machine, like a lawnmower or an outboard motor, and then just let it roll as I hammer through the song. So what I'm going to show you today is just a couple of things in your left hand that can make a song a little bit more musical, and a couple of things in your right hand. We're going to stick with the idea of the basic idea of that island strum and those 4 chords, and maybe even that particular song, which of course I'm sure you'll recognise as Stand By Me, and look at a few things we can do with that very simply to make your performance of it more musical. Let's have a look at the basic chords that we're using for this song. C major, A minor, F major, and G major, or maybe G7, depending on how you feel. These are real important chords. They're the basis of your start of your ukulele life, and there's a reason why you learn them at the start. They are central to lots of the music you'll want to play and maybe even write. But chords are just groups of notes chosen specifically for a reason. And these chords have all something in common. Let's take that C major chord for example. It has 2 C notes, an E note and a G note. C is the first note of the C major scale, E is the 3rd note of the C major scale, and G is the 5th note of the C major scale. And in all of those chords, C, A minor, F, G, the notes that make them are the 1st note of that scale, the 3rd note of the scale, and the 5th note of that scale. And they have a real solid, really well defined, really definite sound. Think for a minute about vanilla ice cream. Yum. Okay, vanilla ice cream is sold all over the world. You kind of know what you're going to get wherever you buy it. There might be a few local differences, but essentially vanilla ice cream is vanilla ice cream wherever you get it. But you can add things to vanilla ice cream to enhance it, to make it more interesting, to enrich it, to give it a bit of zip. Maybe some stemmed ginger over the top. Or if you don't like stemmed ginger, how about just a touch of lime? How about a flake of chocolate? If you're feeling really exotic, how about a dash of Baileys? And you can make your vanilla ice cream more interesting, more vibrant, more enhancing. Let's take that C chord, because we can do this with chords. I'm going to play that first of all with my little finger and add that note, which is 2nd string 3rd fret. It's a G note actually. This to me gives us a much more powerful chord. It's actually called a C5. With our A minor chord, I'm going to again add that C note that sits on the top string 3rd fret with my little finger. That's still an A minor chord, it's just got a touch of lime. I'm going to change the F chord quite drastically. There's our F chord. I'm going to take my 2nd finger off, leave open G, leave the 2nd string 1st fret where it was, and again add that C note, which gives us an F sus2. It's no longer an F major, it's an F sus2. And perhaps the most exotic of all of these chords, on the G major, I'm going to take my 1st finger off, leave an open C there to give us this unusual sounding chord, which doesn't sound that nice on its own, but in the context of the song, I think you might find it proves to be very interesting. So the changes between these are quite simple. C5, leave your little finger on, take your 3rd finger off, 2nd finger onto 4th string fret 2 for an A minor, bring your 1st finger onto string 2 fret 1 for an F sus2, and then final change, just those 2 fingers on strings 1 and 2 fret 2 and 3. So we've got and in the context of the song, played slowly, it'll sound like this. It's the same basic chord structure, but with a touch of excitement, maybe a twist of lime. The second thing I'm going to suggest we can do with our left hand is perhaps a little more challenging, and that's to add a musical phrase over the top of the chords that I've just shown you. It's quite a simple phrase, it's just this. Doesn't matter if you catch the other strings, but I'm just playing the top string on the up, down, up bit, up, down, up, and I'm going from the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret. Up, down, up, just on the top string, up, down, up. But I'm going to overlay that onto the chords that we've just had. So on the C5, it's going to sound like this. And what I'm doing there is playing C5 as we've shown, and then taking my little finger off. I can root that there all the time if you like. So 2nd fret 1st string is being played by 2nd finger. That 2nd finger then comes over to the A minor. Little finger stays on the 1st string 3rd fret. Then we go to the F sus2. So little finger 1st string 3rd fret, 1st finger 2nd string 1st fret, and I'm using my 3rd finger to play the when we come to the G chord, I'm going to play a whole G chord this time, not leaving the C open, and I'm going to put my little finger on again, so we've got so those chords now are back to C5 to finish. So if we play that slowly now and play the whole of the song with the whole of the island section, doing those little notes on the 2nd half of the island strum. So we've got just gives it a bit more life. Let's look at a couple of things we can do with the right hand. So let's think about the right hand as well. What can we bring in on the right hand that might liven up our musical accompaniment a little? So we've got our accompaniment with the island strum going. I don't want to talk particularly about the chuck, but you've probably already discussed that, which is fine. So chucks work well. How about instead of the constant down strum going straight across, how about dragging it? So let's look at that first section of the island strum, the down, down, up. So how about dragging the second one of those? So instead of playing, we're playing slight delay as you're bringing your hands, so you're playing all of the strings individually. So that's combining that with the chuck. Of course, what we're doing here is accompanying a song. And a song has got words. And surely there should be some connection between what you're playing on the ukulele and what you're singing in the song. It's all part of the same performance, the same way of expressing ideas and thoughts and emotions. They're not divorced from each other. So what are the words of that second verse? If the skies that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. Now, doesn't the first bit of that give you pause for thought? So why not pause in the music? Just play some simple downstrokes to emphasise what the song is about. How about this? If the skies that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountains should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. And when the island strum comes back in, it gives it a little more power, it lifts things again. It's just a musical way of accompanying the song. If you were playing in a band and had a drummer, then the drummer would give you little signposts when you're coming into a chorus. But if you're not playing in a band, if you're just on ukulele yourself, you can do the part of the drummer. So before you come into the chorus, why not just change your strumming pattern a little bit? Just as long as you stand by me, and darling, darling, stand. So I'm just doing a few up and down strokes just to give the sign we're coming into the chorus. Or you could go, just as long as you stand by me, and darling, darling, stand. So on the first of those, just as long as you stand by me, would be like rolls on the snare drum. The second one, just as long as you stand by me, and darling, darling, would be like a drummer playing rolls on the toms. So pop, 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 pop. They're just ways of livening up your musical performance. They're making the song more interesting for you to play, for your audience to listen to. Okay, let's sum everything up. So we've looked at that 4-chord progression, and we've looked at the island strum and ways of adapting both of those things without going too far away from the basics. There are reasons why very good teachers teach you strumming patterns and chord progressions and teach you to stick with those throughout the entirety of a song, and that's to give you the idea of a solid rhythmic backing for your accompaniment, and that's important. But actually what's equally important is that as you get those things under your belt, you're not afraid to vary them a little, not too much, you want to keep the solidity, but vary them enough for you to bring in some musical expression of your own and some connection between what you're singing and what you're playing. We are making music after all. Okay, I'm going to finish by playing around those 4 chords using some of the ideas we've talked about and some other ideas that will just come to me as I'm playing. If you're interested in private lessons, either a series of them or just one-offs, to look at what you can do to enhance your own playing and embellish things that you already know, or want to find out where you can go to move on from where you are, then on my You and Your Uke Facebook page there are ways of contacting me to discuss that. But I hope this video has been useful for you. So I'm going to just play those things out now and see where we go with them. I'm not sure what I'm going to play because, as I say, I don't know, it'll depend on how I feel when I get there.